Welcome to the Catalyst Collective. I'm your host, JD, and this is episode 26, and I'm joined by Dr. Barb Thompson, the Counterculture Solutions operational psychologist. But that's not the only place that she's an operational psychologist. She just does that work for us as well. I don't want to diminish the many other places that you do operational psychology. Kind of an awkward way to start that, but you know, it's okay. The episode today is about the purpose track, right? It's a new course that we envisioned about 6 to 8 months ago, and I kind of built out the framework for, and then huddled with Barb a couple weeks ago, and she really devved this thing out into something that is super, super freaking cool. And I'm stoked to be part of it. So, let's start there. The very first Counterculture Purpose Trek is going to be on March 8th near the Peaks of Otter. And what this is an opportunity for anyone, whether you're at the lowest point in life or the highest point, to come out, break free from everyday life, and gain additional or new clarity on your direction and your purpose on earth. So again, maybe you are a 20-year-old college kid who is pursuing a degree that, someone else wanted you to pursue, or maybe it's something you wanted and you're just kind of moving along. You wake up every day, you go to school, you knock out your work, you go home, and you're like, man, what am I doing? And you need the opportunity and the the prompting to discover yourself or what could be better, right? Maybe you're 50 years old and you've pursued wonderful things your whole life, but now you've kind of found yourself in a rut, and you again need an opportunity. That's what this is. This is an opportunity. Anytime you find yourself in a situation where life is not great, it's also an opportunity, right? We really do believe that the obstacle is the way. And so what we're doing here is providing you a way. And that is the purpose track. So what we're going to do through this episode is take the purpose track and kind of march through what it looks like using the hero's journey, which was her brainchild. And to make it relative to you, we're going to use Harry Potter and biblical Abraham, because those two followed a hero's journey. So as we kind of talk about what this course looks like, we're also going to make comparisons to that movie and Abraham's life.
Yeah, if you don't know either one of those, just think of the last hero movie you saw, the last Marvel movie, Superman, anything like that, because these things typically follow a pattern, and they follow the same pattern and are still successful, and we still pay money, good money, to go and watch them because we dive into those stories because we connect with them. We connect with the hero of the story and the trials they face. We connect with the feelings they feel, the difficulties, and then everybody wants to be the hero at the end that has conquered their fears, who has changed the world around them. So anyway, that's where the structure comes from. It's Joseph Campbell's Hero with 1,000 Faces is the book, if you want to really nerd out on it. But we're going to just give you a few examples. If you don't know either one of those, just think of the last movie you saw.
Yeah, perfect. So the hero's journey always starts with someone in the regular world, right? So for Harry Potter, that was little Harry at his mean aunt and uncle's house, living in the closet, and then he got a letter from Hogwarts, and he has the opportunity, right? Hey, can I pursue this? Of course, in that movie, the opposition or the enemy were many people, but his aunt and uncle who were trying to stymie that. But of course, we know that old Harry persevered. And he accepted that letter on the side of Abraham. This was Abraham who was living a rather lavish lifestyle. And he had a calling from God to drop all of that and to go on essentially an adventure where he really knew nothing about where it would end up. He had to know that it would be difficult, but it was his calling. And for you, that's the purpose trek, right? Is this opportunity to disembark from the world that you're in right now for one Saturday and detach from social media and go up into the mountains with like-minded people and go through this hero's journey. Now, let's dev the present world out a little bit. Counterculture Solutions is anti-norms, right? Because it's not that we don't think the norm is an acceptable way of doing business. We don't just want acceptable, we want exceptional. And that's what is counterculture. We don't just push back for the sake of pushing back. We don't ask why because we want to be that nagging individual. We ask why because we're curious and we want more. We're counterculture because we know that it's very easy to go through life and not want more and not be exceptional. So this purpose trek is very much nested with our mission of changing the world one person at a time.
Yeah, and I think that most people do feel that call to adventure, whether they recognize it or not. And so you may be thinking like, well, I wonder if this counts, this little thought in the back of my head, or this little thing I've put in the back burner, or this thing that keeps coming up and popping up, but I just push it to the side because it doesn't seem like it could be a reality. You know what I mean? Most people, I believe most people do feel a call to greater things. They may not be able to label those or name those, but at some point in time, they feel that urge. But then, of course, what happens next? Sometimes what is called in the hero's journey is they refuse that call. You might sense it, you might not know what to call it, but you have a feeling that there could be more for you, and you decide to stay within the norm.
Mm-hmm. I was talking to someone at a networking event 2 weeks ago. He caught me as I was leaving. He's like, man, I really wanted to be a Green Beret or a Navy SEAL or something like that. I was like, that's cool, man. But it's okay to not and to be exceptional in whatever you're doing. He's like, yeah, but man, I was going to do it. And I've had encounters like this many times. But what I walked away from with that individual was that he was not fulfilled. Because it was his choice to not be fulfilled. It not only was it his choice to not pursue that, but then it was his choice to perceive that as a failure.
Mm-hmm. And it's all fake. It's just made up. Yeah. But that's a symptom of the refusal of the call, is that you feel some type of regret. Maybe you can't even name it. And then you see someone that resembles something you wish, you would have put some effort or time into. And then it comes up, either regret or shame or, just something that holds you back. So there's this verse in the Bible, and I think it's very timely just for what we're talking about, refusing this call and going against the norm. It's in Romans, and you can always look it up. There's apps for this if you don't have a Bible, but Romans 12:2, and it says, "Do not be conformed to this world any longer with its superficial values and customs, but be transformed and progressively changed as you mature by the renewing of your mind, focusing on godly values, ethical attitudes, so that you may prove for yourselves what the will of God is, that which is good and acceptable and perfect, basically his plan and purpose for you." So you can see plan and purpose, things that, man, there's so much confusion around today, so much comparison around. That's actually found by stepping outside of the norm. And so that's the call, right? And most of us are refusing it. But
Yeah, no, I
but
really
it's also what hinders us. Yeah.
it is. And so this is the calling, this is the opportunity. You know, with Harry Potter, he didn't believe that he was a wizard until someone said, "You're a wizard, Harry." And it's the only line I know. We also make up spells in the house that are vulgar, and I'm not going to say any of them, but some of them are really funny.
Do you guys have a casting wand? We got a casting wand. Someone did for Christmas.
Nice.
It's very, yeah. Expelliarmus.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know which one that is, but.
I don't either, but we saw a wand that actually like shoots little fire out of it.
Oh, yeah, we wouldn't. Mm-mm.
Yeah.
That would be the one most wanted and the one that would cause the most trouble in our
Yeah.
house, but yeah.
Love it. But yeah, Harry Potter didn't think he was good enough, right?
Right.
He thought he was a muggle, which is someone that's not a wizard, right? Isn't that a muggle? No? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, see, I know. And then with Abraham, as I already said, you know, he was established. And it was a big step for him to go, wait, what? Okay, this is new. All right, I'm convinced, right? So you may feel similar feelings in that maybe you think this isn't for you. I'll say this. If this was offered for me, I would go attend it because I'm curious in growing. And so I'm also curious in getting outside of my comfort zone. And that's what this is. This is an opportunity for you to step away and get outside of your comfort zone.
Yep.
So those that answer the call, like Abraham and Harry and many others, have the opportunity to go on this hero's journey. And the next step is meeting the mentor after you've accepted that call, is to actually going on the journey. And meeting the mentor is the next step. In Harry Potter, that was Dumbledore and Hagrid. You know, again, Hagrid showed up and told Harry that he was a wizard, told him about his parents and everything, that, you know, all of his history. And now Harry's like, wait, okay, he's getting excited. He's being given purpose and direction and motivation. That's the Army's leadership. It's so stupid. It's not stupid. It's good stuff.
Yeah.
It's funny because when I was a young ranger, I was like, purpose, direction, that's ridiculous. I'd make a much better definition for leadership. And then as you get older, you're like, I think over a couple hundred years, they actually figured it out, the Army. With Abraham, God is now providing direction and has made a covenant with Abraham, because you don't go on the hero's journey alone.
Right. Yep.
And for you who are going on this purpose trek with us, we are your mentor. We are that person who is providing the opportunity and doing it with you, right? Hagrid went with Harry. He didn't just say, hey, yeah, here you go. Here's an address. Head there. No, he was with him the whole way. And then when Harry arrived, he had additional mentors. And so that's what this is. You know, it's a journey with us.
Yeah, so along the way, we'll do, other thought exercises just to get you and help give you more clarity on your purpose and direction. And sometimes it's just that outside perspective of, the opposite sometimes, hopefully, of what those self-limiting beliefs are that are holding you back from, taking that call to action. That's where the mentorship can be really helpful. Just somebody kind of outside of your circle that sees you from a different perspective, that sees strengths in a way that maybe you didn't see them before, or, just gives you a little bit of guidance through the rough patch, or at least kind of the crossing over patch. Helps you feel like you're prepared to at least make that first step.
Yeah, and what you said about self-limiting beliefs, that's part of a fixed mindset. And here we want to embody a growth mindset. And so those self-limiting beliefs are very harmful. In fact, at Special Forces Assessment and Selection, one of the things that they tell you, the people who are assessing and selecting you, they look at you and go, guys, let us do the assessing and selecting. Do not self select, right? So we really have to be careful about letting our mind wander, especially into nasty places. And we can be really mean to ourselves. I mean, I know that. Like, we all know that. We can be really harsh to ourselves. Maybe we say things to ourselves that we would not say to other people. I would say certainly. And so with this, don't look at this and say, oh, well, that's not for me because it wouldn't change me anyway, or I don't really think that would help. Come see.
Yeah. Yeah. What could it hurt? Really?
Yeah.
You know what's interesting though, in your assessment selection brought up another memory for me from assessment selection also is like we do psych testing, right? And before we interview guys and then, take them through the whole assessment selection process. And there's this like category on one of the psych tests called self-doubt. And it's so crazy. Like, and it was just like, almost like clockwork. Like you would see a very, very talented, intelligent, capable human being, but I knew if that self-doubt was high, they were going to quit early, and for no other reason. It was fake, right? It was fake. Like self-doubt is just one of those things that weighs you down, that limits, but it's fake. It's a liar, but it's normal. So if you're feeling self-doubt, even about something like this, I would say don't listen and come. Let us mentor you a little bit and help you cross a little bit of a threshold, which is the next piece we'll move on to.
Yeah. And, on the side of risk, because if you're like me, you look at things through risk versus gain. Okay, well, I might lose some time on a Saturday and $99 because that's how much this costs. And we have priced this all the way at the bottom of just to pay for expenses. If you come out and you go through this experience and it was not worth it, I'll refund you. I have no issue refunding you because I believe in this. Even just getting into the mountains intentionally and thinking about your life without us, without people around you, that alone. So if you can't afford it, number one, hit me up, DM us.
Yeah, for sure.
We'll cover you, or we'll bring you to the course for free. We're actually trying to change people's lives, not make $99, right?
I don't know, $99 it won't change your life?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, $99 is actually not even a dinner for us. We went to the station the other night.
It's crazy.
My children ordered filet mignons, did not finish them. $175 bill.
Dude. That hurts.
Yeah.
Did that change your life?
No.
Yeah.
No. We literally came home, and I went outside the next day, and I found a beautiful filet mignon in a to-go box in the back of our car.
Oh yeah, every time. Every time. Okay. But yeah, go ahead and like cross the threshold, and if you need help crossing the threshold, do it. But it's just crossing the threshold is just that moment in time when you mentally commit and hopefully tell somebody else, right? Because then they'll keep you accountable on that commitment. But
yeah, so crossing the threshold, and as you said about an accountability person, do it with a friend. Do it with someone that means something to you. Do it with someone else who's in a similar position. You might walk out of this going, hey, dude, we just endured something pretty special together, and now we have a renewed level of friendship. I mean, if you've gone to a selection together or done anything difficult together, then you know that really helps create bonds.
yeah.
With Harry, he entered Hogwarts, right? It was a new world to him. If anyone has seen the movie, I mean, it's a fantastic place, right? It's wonderful. It's different. For Abraham, he left his homeland and he went places he had never seen with people he had never met and did things that he had never done based off of, again, a calling. For you, you're going to be exposed to a new way of thinking. That's simply it. The mountains aren't new to you, and there's no flying dragons or unicorns or anything up there, and no spells, and no one talking to you in your inner voice or anything like that. It's going to be a new way of seeing life. That's what we're proposing. That's what we're offering you.
Here's the thing. Like you'll sign up for a 5K. Why would you do that? Because it's a challenge, right? And it's almost like, okay, I'm going to sign up for a 5K. And for some people, that's a huge challenge, right? And you kind of got to work and you get there and you do it. Or some people will sign up for a Spartan race, right? And they'll do it with a group. They'll sign up for, I don't know, there's all kinds of other events out there, right? And so this is an event. But all we're saying is like, we're going to pair the already like amazing and incredible, beautiful mountain scenery. And we already know we want to move. Like we would pay so much more money just to go and move, right? And get a free t-shirt. And we're just pairing that with something life-changing. That's all. And so don't be intimidated by it. Like your life is your own. We're not going to put anything, like any words into your mouth because guess what? Like we've all been called to different things. You know what I mean? I felt the call early. I remember in 8th grade, I wrote a paper about like, I feel like this calling to do something great. Don't know what it is. Like that's a weird thing. You know what I mean? And then it led me to be a psychologist. How weird is that? Like no one would have, I didn't know any psychologists. So like, we're not going to put words in your mouth. Your journey is your own, but we want to help you have no regrets. So cross the threshold with us, make the commitment.
Yeah. And
then we'll become allies.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Once you're part of the team, you're part of the team.
Yeah.
And this is definitely an entry into that. You know, through the course of the Purpose Trek, you will form relationships. You'll develop allies. You'll do it with other like-minded people, and we'll present trials, but nothing that is unobtainable. And we'll be there to mentor you and to experience it with you. Everything that you're doing, we're doing with you. With old Harry Potter, you know, he faced many struggles, but I mean, he encountered people that were trying to put spells on him, dude, and turn him into frogs and stuff. But he had friends like Hermione and Ron who were there through the thick of it. And he was able to not only face those trials bravely, but come out a better and stronger person. With Abraham, he faced famine, he faced death, and he knew the entire time that he had a covenant with God, and God's promise meant that he would persevere. That's the same thing with this. Like, you're not going to fail at this. There's no failure at this.
No.
We get through it together. I've had a couple of people reach out and say, hey, how hard is this going to be? Mm-hmm. And I've said, this is not going to be...
Like, can you walk?
Yeah.
If you can walk, you're good.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What will be hard about it is facing your mind some of the things that are going to enter your mind that you haven't faced and that are holding you back. And that's going to be internal. And that's something you'll carry forward and, you know, continue this journey afterwards. But the trials, the allies, there will be no enemies up there. Bears are asleep anyway right now. We'll go through this together. The next piece is a great ordeal. And again, this is where we're presenting challenges to you. With Harry Potter, he had to fight the one we don't speak of. And with Abraham, he was told to sacrifice his son, and he listened. That's a little heavy.
Yeah.
There will be no sacrificial lambs on this journey, but you will be presented the opportunity to face challenges and persevere.
Yeah. Sometimes this piece of the hero's journey is called the belly of the beast, and I really like the sound of that because I know like anyone listening has found themselves in that place where they just feel like it is hell, like it is the hell on earth for them, whether that's an internal state or a combination of internal and, you know, kind of external circumstances. So some of the tools that will help you learn during this, I mean, it's not a stressful trial, right? Like people pay money to go and do physical things all the time. It's just that we're going to combine it with a few other thought exercises so that when you meet the ordeal or you feel like, okay, this isn't just a trial. Like I'm in the thick of it. I'm in the belly of the beast. Like you already have tools going into it, right? Like in so many of these movies, like either they're given a special power or a special thing, right, that's going to help them through it. And those are some of the tools we're going to provide you with, right? And some of it is as simple as knowing specifically what your core values are. Because, what is the Nietzsche saying? Like, he who has a why can bear any how. And that really is powerful. No kidding. We used to do an exercise that, like, before we started guys in the assessment selection process, we would take them through, like, kind of like, we're going to help you out a little bit because it's going to get rough. And we want to take you through, why are you here? Like, why are you even doing this? You know what I mean? And the stronger that why was, like, and we ask because we're nerds. And so, after the fact, hey, what got you through? You know what? When I found myself like thinking, man, I don't think I can do this, or I'm not cut out for this, or like all these guys are better than me. Like, what kept you going? And it was that why. Well, it was why I'm here, So we're going to arm you for the ordeals and the beasts that you face in your everyday life, because we won't always be there.
Yeah. Which leads us into the transformation. Every time you talk, I just note after note after note after note of so many things. It's and my mind just starts getting blown and I get confused, and here we are with the transformation. So when you emerge from the purpose trek, you are stronger. And it was funny when you said tools, I was literally writing down tools for future. As it came out of your mouth, I had crossed the T. I was like,
yeah.
Because it's not a singular event and then it's done.
Right.
Knowing your why, living with based principles, core values, that is what will carry you into the future. Having those tools is what will secure your future. With Abraham, we know the Bible says that Abraham became the father of nations, really the father of Christianity in many ways. With Harry, he became the ultimate wizard. He knew so many spells when he was done. So he had all those spells.
All the spells.
So by the time he left, he could just crack a spell on somebody without even thinking. But then he also pursued a life of wizardry, right? So it wasn't just, hey, I went to Hogwarts for one semester. No, it was a lifestyle. Yeah. That's what we're proposing. We're proposing a lifestyle. And so you should be able to walk away from this having had that catalyst event where you look back in the past and you go, that was a point in my life where things changed. And now I'm moving towards a future where things aren't perfect. Life will never be. In fact, it would be pretty lame if life was perfect. It's like the seasons. We love the snow and then we hate it. And then we love the heat and then we hate it.
We would never watch those movies.
No. And the movies would suck. So being able to walk away from this with those tools and that transformation, that's the goal of the purpose track. And then there is the return to the normal world.
Yeah. And so you take, it's, when something is so good, like what's something so good you've had recently and you just like, you have to share it with someone? Can you think of anything? I don't know how your filet mignons were, but
they were good, but I'm familiar with those.
Yeah.
Anything new? Yeah. Like a month ago, I had close to the best mead that I've ever drank. And I'm not really a drinker, mostly because beer makes me gassy and liquors, I get headaches. But mead it's honey wine. It's wine with honey. And I'm pretty sure Vikings drank this. So, but I had really good mead the other day from Zimmerman's in downtown Bedford. That dude's wild. And anyway, I was telling everyone about it because I wanted other people to experience this. And that's probably a pretty low example.
It's the same thing, right? Like you can't help but talk about it. You can't help but share it. Like when you see someone drowning, you can't help but like reach your arm out And it's kind of like what we're doing right now, even with this purpose trek. Like we've had the desire to take people on this experience, for quite some time. And we're excited about it. But in all of these movies, you can think of, the hero is changed by the ordeals that they go through, and then they come back to, the world, the regular world, their present. And it hasn't changed, but they've changed, and they take that change hopefully back with them, and continue to change the lives of others. But like you said, live the lifestyle now of that new identity, essentially, that they're putting on. And everyone, how people feel so like, I hear, because I've interviewed a lot of people, and I hear a lot of like childhood stories, and that call sometimes is almost like how and why you feel different from the people around you. Does that make sense? Like my, parents were divorced, and my mom and I had to share a bed, and like those things when I was little, like made me feel different. But little did I know, like they were part of my story to what I feel like is a really meaningful, challenging, adventurous life. So if you feel like, no, I'm just different, like that's just, I could never be a part of, a community like Countercultural Solutions. It's like, no, that difference about you is the call. So listen to the call. Don't refuse it. Let us help you over the threshold. Be allies with us. Get some tools, and then take it back into your regular life. Because it doesn't mean like, just because all of your insights, and mindset, it doesn't necessarily mean that like you're gonna go to Wall Street and find a new job, or you know what I mean, like find new love. It just means that like you're living out the very best version of you in the life that you're in, and I guarantee it, you're right where you're supposed to be. I guarantee it. Did any of that make sense?
Yeah, it made total sense. And
I kind of chased a rabbit there, and I couldn't find my way back.
No, you were there. It made total sense to me, and what it invigorated in me was thinking about my call, which was when I was a small kid. I just had this call to be a hero. I wanted to be a hero, and I explored, well, maybe I could be a first responder, and then I eventually landed on special operations. And in 11th grade, I weighed like 120 pounds. And when I joined the Army in 11th grade. I shipped the next year, and when I checked into the Army, I was 134 pounds. So I started to like run and lift weights. I was huge, yeah. 134 pounds. And I remember when I left this place in 2004, there was not a lot of support.
Yeah.
My parents believed in me, but
they're supposed to.
Yeah. I remember telling people, hey, I want to be a Ranger. I want to be a Green Beret. I want to be these things. And I had that calling. And I remember the look on people's faces. I remember one person who looked right at me and like laughed at me.
Oh, yeah.
And that just further inspired me. And so obviously that was almost 21 years ago. And where I am right now is only because of answering that call.
Right.
And then taking a 20 plus year journey.
Right.
To become the person that I am today.
You know what's cool?
What?
You're in a new journey.
Yes.
So cool.
Yeah, exactly.
Seeing it play out. Yeah. I just had to say it so I didn't forget to say it later. But it's exciting to be a witness to it. Yeah. When I just was like, I'm going to go to graduate school. You wouldn't think that's a big deal. And still I had people like, what? Like questioning, why would you do that? Anything that's more, right? Like anything, again, against the norm or outside the norm, people are going to question it because most people refuse the call, right? And then I'm going to join the Army. Oh my gosh, why would you do that? Like you have to move from Oklahoma. Yeah, I'm going to move from Oklahoma. It was like the end of the world for some people, right? But it's like, so let us be your supporters. You might be getting some of that, right? If you're trying to answer the call and you're having some difficulty. Because we all, man, we could, I've got 10 other stories, but
Yeah. I think the last thing here is, regarding the journey is that return, you're going to return back into the same world that you came from. And there will be people and an environment that were conducive to the life you were living prior to. And you have to detach from that. You have to, at a minimum, affect change in those people and that environment. So understand that this journey is just that. It is a journey. It's a lifelong endeavor, and we want to be the catalyst for you. We want to be the reason that 10 years from now, you're able to look back and go, hey, my life is significantly better because of this opportunity. So as we conclude this, doubt exists everywhere. Everywhere. There's a snowstorm coming. First thing that enters your mind is all the bad things that can happen, probably. Or maybe you just think about, sledding, and you're that person, and that's wonderful. But we let doubt seep in, and so as you're hearing this right now, you will undoubtedly have some doubt. So take the leap. Don't be a coward. That's actually what I want to say. I want to say, don't be a coward. The coward never enters the arena. They never take the chance that might be a little tough, but every time, it really does. If you put in the work, it always puts you in a better position. Entering the arena always puts you in a better position. It really does. And so the way that you can enter the arena now, no matter where you are, is the Purpose Trek. Going onto our website, signing up. DM me if you have any issues or if you are not financially in a position to do that. Again, we want to experience this with you. We want to provide you this opportunity. That's all I have to say about that.
and it's going to be a great hike. Going to meet some great people. Going to have some great views and leave with some really good tools. You won't regret it, and you'll actually have a good time. I promise.
The route's good. And as a teaser, if you did the Mountain Survival Challenge 2 or 3 years ago with Hero Games, this is part of that route. The views are gorgeous. It's a cool route. So, anything else on your part?
No.
All right. Well, thank you guys. Appreciate your time, your energy, and we hope to see you guys come out and be part of this.